Bear with me 1 second, Israel. Bear with me 1 second, Israel. Sound good. All right, sound is good. Mm-hmm. 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 Let me share this other page and we're gonna be good to go. And ready to rock. All right, Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Barakatham, Yahweh Shemar Thumb Bashem Yahushua, priest and officer of 1000 Yedaya, and this is the Thursday night history class. First, we have to understand as Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, our history is important. It's important for us to understand that we have laws, statutes, and commandments that we have to come back to. The problem is, as the Lord's people, we're not following what our God said to follow. We're caught up, you know what I mean, in the different philosophies of the world. Like we're caught up in Christianity, we're caught up in Islam, we're caught up in American society. When us as the Lord's chosen people, that black man and woman, that Latino man and woman, that First Nation man and woman, it's time for us to realize, man, that the Lord is only dealing with us. The problem is, man, like I had a brother ask me an excellent question today, Barzal. Like he asked me, like what are the works that we're doing in the ISUPK? And I thought it was an excellent question, and I had to ask, you know what I mean? Like I understand why you asking. He said one of his silly pastors asked him, like, you got to stay away from them radical brothers, them revolutionary brothers. They lead people away from Christ. They don't really love the people. When we went out there to Acuna, Mexico, in the Del Rio, Texas, to feed our Haitian brothers and sisters, when your pastor sat back and did all of the cocaine in the world, had sex with all of the whores. We ran into an article on Monday on Black Watch with Commander General Yohana that the Christian church in 10 years made over $800 billion and not a dime has gone back to our people. It goes to show you that the Christian church has failed us. The Muslim mosque has failed us, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. You know what I mean? Christ told us to go into the highways and byways, and that is what we do in the ISUPK. We go into that ghetto. We go into that barrio. We go into that concentration camp. I'm not calling it the reservation no more. It's not to reserve the North American Indian. It's not to reserve the Seminole Indian. We got to call it for what it is. It is a modern day concentration camp where God's chosen people, the tribe of Gad and the tribe, you know what I mean, of Reuben, the North American Indian and the Seminole Indian are dying on those reservations. Latino men and women are dying in the barrio. Black men and women, we're dying in every ghetto all across the earth. Now is the time to realize that our God only loves us and is dealing with us. We have to realize, man, because we disobeyed our God, that's why we're in the condition that we're in. Everybody has a question of why this happened. Why are we in the ghetto? Why are we in the barrio? Because our God told us this. If I could, Barbara, give me Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. Matter of fact, start at verse 1. Let me get Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1 first. This is what our God told us. And it's something that our people have to understand. Is that somebody asked me about, well, you know what I mean? God, was dealing with everybody. Everybody was being wicked on the earth. Yeah, everybody was being wicked on the earth, but God told a specific people that He chose out of Abraham, out of Isaac, out of Jacob, that He gave this truth to. Got to understand, man, the Lord is not dealing with everybody. Like we always wonder, why are we punished? Why does it seem like we're going through modern day hell on earth? And hell is not some little underground that you go to. Hell, you know what I mean, is that ghetto. It is that barrio. It is that concentration camp that our First Nation and Seminole Indian brothers and sisters reside in. But this is what our God told us in the beginning. Read.
Oh God. There's a book of Deuteronomy. chapter 28, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
God said if we will hearken unto him, meaning we will listen to our God, our power, because he is our Father. He ain't everybody's father. He's the father of blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. He's our God. He's our power. He's saying if thou will hearken, meaning if we'll listen to our God. Read on.
To observe and to do all his commandments.
To observe and to do all of his commandments, meaning not some of them, all of the commandments of God. What does it mean to do all of his commandments? Not just in the Christian church kills me. Because they say, well, it's only 10 commandments. There are over 600 laws, statutes, and commandments that we have to follow. You don't only just break the 10 commandments in the Christian church, you break in everything else. Our people are homosexuals. Our people are liars and cheaters today, following after the oppressor and their lifestyle. Murderers, aborting our babies, celebrating pagan holidays like Christmas, and I'm going to go into, later in the class. When our God told us to hearken unto him and to do and observe all of his commandments. Read on.
Which I command thee this day.
Which I command thee, meaning I command you, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, not everybody. Because the Lord is talking to Moses. He's talking, to Moses, and Moses relaying this to the Israelites, man, blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Read on.
That the Lord, thy God, will set thee on high.
That the Lord will set thee on high, meaning he will set us on high. You want to know why we're not on top right now? We're going to go into it. But the Lord said if we kept his laws, statutes, and commandments, we would be on high. We would be on top. Read on.
Above all nations of the earth.
Above all nations. Meaning God said if we kept his laws, statutes, and commandments, we would be above all nations on the earth, above the oppressor, above the African, the Asian, above the Filipino and the Hawaiians and the Polynesians. God said that blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, if we hearkened unto him, if we kept his laws, statutes, and commandments, that we would be above all nations. This is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. But why is it so that we're not above all nations now? Why is it so? The Lord said, read verse 2.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee.
The Lord said, if we kept the laws, statutes, and commandments, that all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee. We're supposed to be overwhelmed with blessings. You want to know why we're not? Drop down to verse 15.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken.
If thou wilt not hearken. Now God is saying it's going to come to pass that we will not listen. Now we're not, there's a time where we're not going to be following the laws of God. That we're not going to be observing the Sabbath, keeping the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Purim, the Feast of the Dedication, Hanukkah, the Feast of Tabernacles. Now we're doing everything that the oppressor tells us to. Now we're celebrating Christmas. Now, we're marrying women and throwing them away. Now our sisters are whores, our brothers are whoremongers. Now we're using drugs. The problem is, black man, Latino man, and woman, because we did those things that we did not listen to our God, this is why we're in the hell that we're in. This is why we are at a low state. This is why we are at the bottom in every city in America and all across the earth, and every suburb. Read on.
Don't come unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments.
All of his commandments. The Lord said we were supposed to do all of them, but there's going to come a time where we're not going to do it. And this is the punishment. Read on.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day.
Which I command thee this day. Meaning the Lord commanded us to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
Oh God. That all these curses shall come upon thee.
That all these curses shall come upon thee. Have you ever wondered why, or figured like, damn, man, it seemed like we're just cursed. We just can't get ahead. That's from God. That's from our power, black man, Latino man, and woman. We are cursed because we're not listening to our God. That's why it's important for us to come back to our power, to come back into the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. because we are making the same mistake in history over and over and over again. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you that the Christian church is full of garbage. Like, you didn't know that there were more than 10 commandments. You thought you just had to keep those 10 and that was all right, and you don't even do them. We have over 600 laws, statutes, and commandments, black man, Latino man, and woman. But I understand. This is the real problem with our people. You think, you know what I mean? And I get it. Our people naturally, if I could, Bars, I'll go to Romans 10 and verse 1. A lot of our people, man, are in the Christian church and the Muslim mosque because they genuinely want to get close to the Most High, because we are God's chosen people. But the problem is we are being led astray by that pastor, by that imam. I know Creflo Dollar talks a good game. Like, I had a brother tell me today, Barzal, he was like, I don't know what it is about Creflo, but he just seemed a little shady. He seemed like he all about that dollar. I'm like, the nigga name is Creflo Dollar. And y'all give him money. Like, y'all give him the dollars. Like, you got to understand. And none of them actually go into the scriptures. But I take offense that they have a problem with us saying, oh, you're a hate group. You don't love everybody. And to be honest with you, it's really because we don't love the oppressor. Right. That's the main thing. They really can accept us not loving everybody else, but the base of it, we just got to love the oppressor. We just got to do whatever your white daddy say. And I can show you where God hates the oppressor, man, and only loves us. The thing is, we go into this church, we go into that Muslim mosque, trying to get closer to God, but the Lord spoke about this in the book of Romans, chapter 10 and verse 1. Read what you got.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 10 and verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved.
Paul said this, and Paul was a hardcore brother. A lot of Christians love to run to Paul and think Paul trumps Christ. He trumps the disciples of old. He trumps, you know what I mean, Peter and John, you know what I mean? He trumps the old, you know what I mean, prophets of God like Malachi, you know, Ezekiel and Daniel. Paul was a hardcore Benjamite brother, man. Paul be a West Indian brother today. He said brethren, meaning he's speaking to his brethren. Paul is not talking to everybody. Paul said brethren. Meaning, and who are Paul's brethren? Who's Paul's brethren? Now, I'm going to read this, Barzo. Romans 11 and 1 says this. I say then, have God cast away his people? Did God cast away that black man? Did God cast away that Latino man and woman? That First Nation man and woman? Paul is saying, has God cast away his people? God forbid. God did not cast us away, man. God that does not throw us away. Got to understand the greatest attribute about our God, Yahweh, is this. And our people take this part for granted, Barzo. Our God is all powerful. He destroyed Egypt. He destroyed Babylon. He destroyed the Persians and the Medes and the Greeks and the Romans. He's going to destroy America. But the greatest attribute about our God is his mercy. Right. Is that even, you know, our God still loves us, black man, Latino man, and woman. Even when the Lord was going to make a nation out of Moses, like Moses was like, Salakia, sir, Salakia, Father. Remember Abraham, remember Isaac, remember Jacob. And it said the Lord repented, meaning the Lord turned from the evil that he was getting ready to do to our people. Because let me tell you something, black man, Latino man, and woman. Moses was a better brother than me. Listen, I'm just being real, Barzo. That's a nice offer. You'd have been Yediah bun Yahweh. She would have been Yediah bun Yahweh. It'd have been a nation of Yediah. However, Moses was an excellent brother, man. And our God repented of that evil, man. And he didn't cast us away. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Meaning Paul was saying, I'm from the seed of Abraham. I'm from the tribe of Benjamin, who are the West Indians today, the so-called, you know what I mean, brothers and sisters in Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, you know what I mean, in St. Thomas and St. Clarence. You got to understand in the Barbados, in the Bahamas, in Guyana. You got to understand, man, Paul was an Israelite. And when he says, brethren, it's my heart's desire, meaning it's my mind's desire, in prayer to God that Israel is that they might be saved. Meaning Paul wants Israelites to be saved. Paul doesn't want everybody to be saved. So when your pastor runs to Paul and say, well, Paul said this, ask your pastor who Paul was. Ask them what his nationality was. And why does Paul say, brethren? It's my heart's desire, my mind's desire that Israel may be saved. Here's the thing. If God was going to save all races of people, he would have said it. Where is that in the Bible? You can't find it. Because God is only coming for that black man, a Latino man, and First Nation man and woman. That's why he's sending our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, who the world ignorantly knows as Jesus Christ. When Christ comes back, he ain't coming back for the oppressor. He ain't coming back for the African and the Asian. He's coming back for that black man and woman, that Latino man and woman, that First Nation man and woman. While Paul is saying, brethren, my brothers, my sisters, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved. Read verse 2.
Oh God, for I bear them record.
Now, Paul is saying, I bear them record. Read on.
Oh God, that they may have zeal of the Most High.
They have a zeal of God. Meaning, Paul is saying, my brothers out there in the world, they have a zeal of God. Our people that go into that Christian church and Muslim mosque, a lot of them naturally have a zeal of God. They want to get close to the Most High. However, read on.
But not according to knowledge.
But not according to knowledge. What does that mean where it says not according to knowledge? Meaning you're going into the Christian church to learn about God, to gain knowledge on the Most High. But the Lord is saying, yeah, man, for I bear them record. They have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. Meaning you're not going to find God in the Christian church. You're not going to find God in the Muslim mosque. And Paul is also quoting something from the Old Testament, man. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. What does that mean, man? For we have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. What does that mean? Good. Let me get Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. Let me get Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. Also, if y'all have any questions, I'll be answering y'all questions tonight. Type y'all questions in. I got a question from yesterday that Officer Danielle is going to let me break down in Daniel, the 8th chapter. I also have a couple questions from some brothers at my slavery. Then we're going to go into Christmas. Now, understand this, man. Go to Hosea 4 and 6. Because Paul is like, man, listen, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of God. Naturally, as blacks and Latinos, we have that zeal. We want to serve the Most High. But it's not you going into the church and banging a tambourine. It's not you, sis, going into that choir and singing your heart out. I understand our people have beautiful voices. I understand, man, that, you know what I mean, that our people are talented. You know what I mean? That you want to serve the Most High. But it's not banging that tambourine. It's not playing the drums. It's not you crying and fainting, catching the so-called Holy Ghost. That's why God is saying, but not according to knowledge. That's why I'm going to save that for after this. Read Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6, Bubba Bashar.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4, and verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. As blacks and Latinos, we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge because we don't know who we are. We don't know that we're the real Israelites, the Jews of antiquity. Meaning we don't understand that we're God's chosen people. We don't understand that the Christian church has been lying and robbing our people blind, and so is the Muslim mosque. That's why Paul said in Romans 10 and verse 2, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. Hosea is saying, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Paul is quoting Hosea, man. Because Paul also said in Romans 15 and verse 4 that everything written aforetime was written for our learning. We are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And that's why you have to come into the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge, because we make knowledge practical. God is dealing with us, black man, Latino man, and woman. We're the prophets of old in the Isupk. Pastor Ruffin, T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, they're not prophets of God. They're not. They're charlatans. They're liars. And they hate our God. They hate our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, that the world ignorantly knows as Jesus Christ. How do we know that? How? While I'm on the topic, I believe I went into this before, but I want to get it again. Now, read a little bit more, Barzo. of Hosea 4 and 6. And then I want you to give me John, the 10th chapter. Because the thing is, your pastor is a charlatan. He's a liar. They made $800 billion. I'm not letting that go. Like Barzal, when General Hyman said that the Christian church made over $420 billion, and look it up, I looked it up because I couldn't believe that they made that much money. And to my shock, I have to say, Salakia, sir, Salakia Alawak, it's a lot more than that. They didn't just make $420 billion. They made $800 billion in 10 years. Who do you think they got the $800 billion from? From our poor mothers, our grandmoms with those crazy, silly feathered hats on. Like, we all grow, like in the comment section, type in a 1 if you grew up, you know what I mean, poor. That if we grew up, if the lights went out, that was normal on a Tuesday or a Thursday. But you know what our mothers was doing with the electric money? They was giving it to Pastor Ruffin. Well, goddamn, bars, all like that. I was getting ready to say the wrong thing. That stuff is backwards. It's behind backwards. It's insane. It's insane. Where I can truly say this from experience. In the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, man, if you in this truth, if you in this school, if you a brother and sister, your lights don't have to get cut off. Your lights won't get cut off. Because Commander General Yohana, man, is going to make sure your lights are going to remain on. You'll never starve. You'll never be homeless. I can honestly say I can go to any city in America or anywhere in the world and I will not be homeless, man. Because the Isupk and the Commander General Yohana got me. And that's what's heavy, is that we have laws that prevent homelessness, man. We have laws that prevent like extreme poverty. But is the Christian church following them? No, they're not. Is the Muslim mosque following them? No, they're not. But the Isupk and the Commander General Yohana, we understand that all we got is our God and our King and each other, black man, Latino man, and woman. And it's time for us to realize that. Like, too many of us have this crab in a barrel mentality. And it goes to show you like how destroyed we are, because we don't understand, like, as blacks and Latinos, if we stop killing one another, selling each other drugs, you know what I mean, and coming back to what our God say in these laws, statutes, and commandments in the UPK, we be all right. We be tawab. That's why the Lord is saying, for we are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man. And because we rejected knowledge, our God rejected us. But our God did not just ultimately cast us away, black man, Latino man, and woman. He didn't just ultimately cast us away. But you know who did? Our pastors wrote us off like we were a bad check. I can't even say we a bad check, Barzal, because they made $800 billion. $800 billion. If I could, let me get John chapter 10 and verse 11. Because I want to bring this out real quick before I go into a few more of these questions and my topic.
This is the book of John, chapter 10, verse 11. I am the good shepherd.
Christ is the good shepherd, black man, Latino man, Native Indian man and woman. Christ is the good shepherd. Read on.
The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Meaning this, Christ gave his life so we can come back into this truth, so we can come back to our God, black man, Latino man, and woman. Why are we called sheep? Why is Christ the good shepherd? Because sheep require a shepherd. As blacks and Latinos and Native Indians, we are the lost sheep to the house of Israel, man. Of the 12 tribes of Israel, we are the lost sheep. And Christ is our shepherd, black man, Latino man, and woman. Read on.
But he that is an hireling and not the shepherd.
He that is a hireling. Who is the hireling? Who's the hireling? Who's the hireling? Your pastor is the hireling. He's the one. He ain't the shepherd. T.D. Jakes is a hireling. black man, Latino man, and woman. Read on.
God. Whose own the sheep are not.
Whose own are the sheep are not. Meaning we don't belong to Creflo Dollar. We don't belong to TD Jakes. We don't belong to Joe Osteen. Like Joe Osteen robbed us. Joe Osteen robbed us of $600,000, and that's not surprising. He reported it stolen when he's the one that stole it from our people, man. Read on.
See the wolf coming and leadeth the sheep.
They see the wolf coming and they leave the sheep. Meaning they see the oppressor coming to kill us, man. They see, you know what I mean, the danger that happens to blacks and Latinos, man. Our brothers and sisters being locked in cages. I just put the article up. Black churches have collected more than $800 billion in 10 years. They see what happens to us. And guess what? They run away. They leave. You want to know why? Read on.
God. And the wolf catcheth them.
Now the wolf catches us. Now we are devoured by America. Now we are devoured by the oppressor, man. Read on.
Come. And scattereth the sheep.
And scattereth the sheep. Now we're scattered. Now we're scattered. Now we're all over the place. Now we in the Muslim mosque. Now we in the Christian church. Now we Catholic. Now we Egyptologists. Now what's the other one? Now you 5%ers. Now, you know what I mean? You believe in them thinking that the black woman is God, which is just utter madness, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. And that's why, you know what I mean, the church are losing members. We went into another story Monday about how our people have stopped going to church, man. And Barakatah Yahweh was shy for that. Because they robbed us of $800 billion. Now our people are starting to catch on and realize, man, that our people need to come out of that. Read on, Barzo.
Come. The hireling fleeth because he is an hireling.
The hireling fleeth because he's a hireling, meaning he's just a worker. He's just a grunt. Like he's like a basic store clerk, basically. You know, not dissing store clerks. You know what I mean? If you got an elevated plantation, you got to get your money the way you can get it lawfully. Understand this, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Your pastor is a hireling, meaning this, we don't belong to him. He's not the good shepherd. He's not qualified to lead our people. Read on.
Come. And careth not for the sheep.
He careth not for the sheep, meaning he does not care for the sheep. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. He does not care for us. He don't care for our people. He doesn't give a damn about us. That's why they can rob us of $800 billion, man. That's why when you go to church and you ask questions about famine, you ask questions about the coronavirus, the COVID-19, they have no answer for it, man. You got to realize, man, that God did not send TD Jakes. He did not send Creflo Dollar. He didn't send Louis Farrakhan. He didn't send, you know what I mean, Pastor Ruffin. He didn't send your auntie or your grandmama, your mama. God sent the Isupk King. That's who God sent. God sent the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Our God sent Abba Bibbins. He sent Chief Head Priest Mashah, Chief Head Priest Ariah, Chief Head Priest Yaiquab, Yeshaya. He sent Commanding General Yohana and the generals and the captains and the officers, man. He didn't send your pastor or your imam. There anymore?
God. That's like it. That's like it. The hireling, it's like, I am the good shepherd and know my sheep.
Christ is the good shepherd and knows his sheep because we are the sheep of Christ, man. That's why it's important to come back into this truth. Now, if I could, Barzal, let me get Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 15.
There's a book of Jeremiah, chapter 14 and verse 15. Therefore, thus saith the Lord concerning the prophets that prophesy in my name.
Now, this is what the Lord has to say about those prophets that prophesy in my name. Which prophets is he talking about? Read on.
And I sent them not.
And I sent them not. Now God is speaking to those so-called prophets that claim they come in the name of God, that reside in Ebenezer Baptist Church, Balzall, that talk like this. Like every preacher talks like they from Chickasaw County for some crazy reason, man. Like you talk like you from Memphis, or you from, you know what I mean, or you know what I mean, or Alabama, you know what I mean, or Mayville, or Mobile, Alabama, or Atlanta, Georgia. You know what I mean? When a lot of y'all be from up north. The thing is, right? God is saying, therefore, thus saith the Lord concerning the prophets that prophesy in my name, and I sent them not. Meaning God did not send Farrakhan. God did not send Elijah Muhammad. God did not send Creflo Dollar, Geno Jennings, T.D. Jakes. What's another one? God did not send, what's that homosexual gospel singer, Kirk Franklin. Didn't send them. Didn't send, you know what I mean, Joel Osteen. Didn't send, what's that devil's name, Kevin Copeland. He didn't send him. God sent Commander General Yahan. God sent the generals and the captains and the officers in the UPK. Read on.
Oh, God. And, Slavian.
Yeah.
And I sent them not.
Meaning God did not send them. Read on.
Yet they say, sword and famine shall not be in this land.
They say, well, in the name of our God, in the name of Jesus, I can cast out demons. Didn't Kenneth Copeland say, coronavirus, I'll blow the winds of God? Like Kenneth Copeland was going to blow away the coronavirus, Barzal, and it done morphed into Delta. It done morphed into Omicron. Meaning our God is nothing to play with, black man, Latino man, and woman. That's why they didn't even understand that the COVID was in the Bible. That's why the Lord said in Deuteronomy 28 and 61, every sickness and every disease that is not written in the book of this law shall the Lord bring upon thee and destroy thee. Your pastor saying they can get rid of sword and famine. Ain't no sword and famine coming. Read on.
Oh, God. By sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed.
By sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed. Meaning God is going to destroy those false prophets, man. God is going to deal with your pastor, your imam, by famine and by sword. Sword meaning destruction. Sword meaning death, warfare, man. You know what I mean? And famine. Famine meaning, you know what I mean, coronavirus, COVID-19, pestilence. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Lack of food, lack of those precious tithes that they love to get. They love to say that the law is done away with, but love to say, well, pay your tithes. Don't you stop tithing. The Lord said he was going to bring, you know what I mean, the sword and famine to those prophets that the Lord said, I sent them not. Meaning God did not send your pastor, your imam. That's why it's time to stop listening to them. They don't even go into the Bible or try to break it down. They lean into their own understanding, which our God said not to do. This is why it's important to understand, man, that we are in this captivity because we leaned into our own understanding. We did. And you think, and I'm going to be honest with you, black man, Latino man, and woman, if I could just transition for 1 second. Being in America, this ain't nothing new. We've been here before. What do I mean by we've been here before? We was in Egypt, going through bondage, going through slavery. We was in Babylon. We were in, you know what I mean, captivity under the Assyrians, under the Greeks and the Romans, the Persian and the Medes. Like captivity ain't nothing new to us, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. And a brother had a question about this yesterday. You know what I mean? When I was precinct officer 1000, Don Yala, you know what I mean, was teaching. And he's allowing me, you know what I mean, to break the brother's question down, pass it to me. I want to go to it. The brother asked, you know what I mean, about a vision in Daniel 8 and 23. You know what I mean? And what's that's talking about. Now, if I could, let's go to Daniel 7 and 1 first for context. Let's go to Daniel, the 7th chapter. Let's go there. Just to break down some of this history for our people. Let's read on down. I want to say to about 13, and then I'm going to jump and skip you around. Because what we have to realize, man, like us being here in America, it happened before in Babylon. It happened before in Egypt. Us going into captivity, like I read earlier in Deuteronomy 28 and 15, is these curses coming upon us because we disobeyed our God. I have to break it down to you like this. If you're a father and you have children and you tell your kids, don't go down the street when you go outside and play with those knuckleheads, you find them down the street and doing it. What do you do as a good father? Do you go out there and punish every child on that corner, or do you punish your child? We are the Lord's children, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. God punished us. He punished us for transgressing against his laws, statutes, and commandments, following after these other nations. Now, let's read Daniel 7 and verse 1, Bubba Kushaw.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon.
Now, in the first year, Belshazzar, king of Babylon. Now, this is when Daniel was in Babylon. You know what I mean? Daniel, you know what I mean? The prophet Daniel, a powerful brother, man, who was, who had great faith in the Most High, man, who was delivered from that lion's den. Those heathen tried to trick Daniel up, man, and try to get him to stop worshiping our God and serving our God for 30 days. But Daniel said, "To hell with y'all." And Daniel had a pretty high station in Babylon, and he did not compromise this truth. Daniel stood strong, man. Now, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Belshazzar is the grandson of Nebuchadnezzar. Read on.
Okay. Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed.
Now, when Daniel, was in the bed, he had visions, meaning he had visions of something that was to come to pass. Read on.
Okay. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter.
Daniel wrote this dream down. He said, "Man, I got to write this down. This is heavy. I wonder what it is." What Daniel's vision entailed was heavy because it actually happened. And it didn't just happen like it happened to our people, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Read on.
Okay. And visions of his head upon his bed. Mm-hmm. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Mm-hmm. Verse 2. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove up the great sea. Now,
Daniel's laying down in the night, and he had visions, man, of the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. Read on.
Okay. And the four great beasts came up from the sea.
Now, these four great beasts that we're getting ready to read about, these four great beasts are different nations. That's who they are. I'm going to break down which one was which. Read on.
Okay. Diverse one from another.
They were each diverse one from another. Read on.
Okay. The first was like a lion.
Mm-hmm.
And it had eagles' wings.
The first was like a lion and had eagles' wings. The first was like a lion and had eagles' wings. This is talking about Babylon. The lion with eagle's wings is talking about the Babylonians and us being in captivity with them. It's talking about the Babylonian lion, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. And some of these images and statues that they erect, guess what? You can see them here in America, man, because America is spiritually Babylon, man. It's Babylon, the great whore. That's what you got to understand, man. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. And I'm going to put an image of it on the screen. This is talking about the Babylonian lion. Read on, Barzo.
Okay. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. Meaning, Daniel said, I beheld until this kingdom fell, man. It's a time, man, where Babylon was destroyed, man. Where the Lord dealt with Nebuchadnezzar. He dealt with Babylon. Read on.
Okay. And it was lifted up from the earth.
And it was lifted up from the earth. Meaning it was a time period when we was in Babylon, man. When we were under Nebuchadnezzar, under those heathens, man. and the Lord destroyed them for it. Because Babylon was a lot like Egypt. They thought they could stand up to the Most High. They thought they was great and powerful. What I put up on the screen, this is the Babylonian lion, man. This is the Babylonian lion, and it had eagle's wings. Babylon thought they was big and bad. Nebuchadnezzar, I did a class on this, man. Nebuchadnezzar thought, you know what I mean, because he erected a statue of himself, that everybody was just going to bow down and worship the image of him, you know what I mean, of his God. You know what I mean? A lot of the Israelites did, but you had three righteous brothers, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, that said the hell with that. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego were one West. You know what I mean? The sum of them brothers was hardcore. They said, Nebuchadnezzar, not only are we not going to bow down to your image, but our God will deliver us from you in the burning furnace that you're trying to put us in. And even if our God doesn't deliver us from that burning furnace, guess what? We still not going to bow down to your gods, man. That's the type of spirit we got to have in America, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. The first of these nations, man, of the four beasts is Babylon. And that's the Babylonian lion, man. It's talking about the Babylonians, man. Read on.
And made stand upon the feet as a man.
Mm-hmm.
And a man's heart was given to it.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear.
Now, the second, which stood up like a bear. When it said it may stand up on its feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it, our people's mind was given to Babylon. Like our people had set in their mind that we have to do what the Babylonians do. We have to follow them. It's the same thing in America. You following that Christmas spirit. You following that New Year's spirit, man. It was no different being in Egypt and Babylon, man, following after their mind. But God destroyed Babylon. Now it's talking about the other beast that came up. And it was like a bear. Read on.
Oh God. And it raised up itself on one side.
And it raised up itself on one side. Read on.
And it had 3 ribs
Mm-hmm.
in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh.
Arise and devour much flesh. Now, when it says, and behold, another beast, a second, this is the nation that came after Babylon. And it raised up on itself one side, it had 3 ribs in its mouth. And between the teeth of it, they said, let us arise and devour much flesh. That's talking about the Persians and the Medes devouring, you know what I mean, Babylon. Devouring, you know what I mean, Nebuchadnezzar, and coming and also devouring us. Meaning after Babylon fell, then came the Persians and the Medes, man. Now they're in charge. And now they devoured much flesh. Now they're devouring us. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Read on.
God. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard.
Now, another like a leopard. Now, what is the leopard that's being talked about here? Read on.
God, which it had upon the back of it 4 wings.
And the back of it 4 wings. The back of it 4 wings. Read on.
God. Of a fowl.
Of a fowl. Now, the next one is a leopard. Now, this leopard had on the back of it 4 wings. Read on.
God. The beast had also 4 heads.
Now, the beast also had 4 heads. This is talking about the Greeks. This is talking about Alexander the Greek. They call him Alexander the Great. Was nothing great about that evil, you know what I mean, oppressor Alexander, man. Alexander the Greek was a rapist and a monster on the earth, man. It destroyed God's chosen people, man. And it's talking about the 4 faces. That's talking about, you know what I mean, the 4 generals that it was broken up to, and when he died, it was given power unto them. Read on.
God. It's like it. The beast also had 4 heads. The dominion was given to it.
Dominion was given to it, man. Dominion was now given to the Greeks under Alexander, man. Now, the Greek Empire, man, that's what followed after Darius and the Persians and the Medes. Now the Greeks are in charge. And America is heavily influenced by the Greeks. And the Greeks were heavily influenced by the Persians and the Medes and by Babylon and by Egypt, man. Don't you see the trend that is happening here, black man, Latino man, and woman? Don't you see what's going on? Babylon, Persia and the Medes, and now the Greeks. Read on.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast.
A fourth beast. Now, this beast right here was unlike those other three that followed after the Babylonians, that followed after the Persians and the Medes, and after, you know what I mean, the Greeks. This fourth beast was something else, black man, Latino man, and woman. And I think some of y'all scholars out there may know where we getting ready to go. Read on.
Dreadful and terrible.
Dreadful and terror, meaning this fourth beast was unlike the other ones. This fourth beast was dreadful and terrible. Read on.
And strong exceedingly.
And strong exceedingly. Meaning the nation that came into power after the Greeks was strong, was powerful. That, you know what I mean, that destroyed all of them. Read on.
And it had great iron teeth.
Had great iron teeth. Meaning the iron teeth, man, represent, you know what I mean, their warfare and how they circumnavigated the entire earth and was in charge. What empire am I speaking of? I'm speaking about the Romans. Read on.
It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it.
It stamped the residue with the feet of it. It devoured and brake in pieces. Meaning everywhere the Romans went, they went and conquered everybody and put blacks and Latinos and Native American Indians through great hell. We're still in that captivity to this day. When Rome broke, when Rome fell, you know what I mean? The people that rule Rome, those are the same ones that rule America, man. Read on.
From all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
Now, it was diverse from all the beasts. It was diverse, man. This beast right here, the Roman Empire, was diverse from all of the different nations that came before it. Like Rome was on a different level than Egypt, than Babylon, than the Persians and the Medes and the Greeks. Meaning this, man, it was strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue of the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. And what we have to understand as blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man, like what our people have to understand is this. Like when Rome so-called fell, that gave away, you know what I mean, to these other nations of oppressors that you see today, like America, like Britain, like Russia, Switzerland, those devils. That's the 10 horns, man. Read on.
There came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things.
Now, there's one little horn that came up after Britain and Spain and all those European countries. Now, this is talking about America, the captivity that we're in today. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Read on.
God. I beheld till the thrones were cast down.
Now, Daniel is saying, I beheld till those thrones were cast down. What were those thrones, man? Daniel is saying, I beheld all this until the thrones were cast down. Meaning Daniel saw Rome fall. He saw Babylon fall, the Persians and the Medes. He saw the Greeks fall. He sees America falling. He beheld until the thrones were cast down, that these other nations and their governments were destroyed. Read on.
Oh, God. And And the Ancient of Days did sit.
And the Ancient of Days did sit. Who is the Ancient of Days? This is a beautiful scripture, man, and a milk scripture that I love, man, because it's saying, man, I beheld until the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. Who is more ancient than days itself? Who is more ancient than the days, man? This is talking about the Most High. This is talking about Yahweh. This is talking about our God, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, and which is so heavy about it. You know what I mean? Well, we have to realize, like, as the Lord's chosen people, I'm 12. I'm actually 12. This is talking about our power. And you right, Hawar, man. The Lord saw all, you know what I mean? The Lord destroyed all of these kingdoms, man. All of these so-called great kingdoms, you know what I mean, of the earth. None of them compare, you know what I mean, to the Most High. That's why the Most High destroyed them, man. And they think they're going to go to war with the Most High. Listen, I beg to differ, boys. Our God said in Isaiah 47 and verse 3 that he would not meet thee like a man. Let's read on.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Whose garment was white as snow.
Now the Lord's garment was white as snow, man. And the Lord got a garment on right now. Read on.
Oh, God. And the hair of his head like pure wool.
Now, and the head of his head's like pure wool, man. Now the Lord got hair like pure wool, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, meaning our God is a black man in spirit. Like, you don't have to worry about, you know what I mean, these other nations. You don't have to worry about the oppressor and what they can do. That's why our God said, fear of the one that can kill the body and spirit in hell and in earth, man. Our God is the one that can kill us, you know what I mean, in hell. You know what I mean? And on earth. But you got to understand, black man, Latino man, and woman, like what makes our God so dreadful and powerful, man, like our people fear the oppressor. Like we fear the oppressor and what the oppressor can do to us, man. And we need to fear the Most High. That's who we need to fear. Like you too busy worrying about, you know what I mean, worrying about what the oppressor can do to you. You need to worry about what our God can do. That's what you need to worry about. Like I had a brother tell me earlier, well, you know, the oppressor was in that laboratory with the coronavirus. And he ain't mean nothing by it. I understand, brother. But what we have to realize, man, the oppressor don't got to go into some laboratory, you know what I mean, and concoct some new method to kill us when all he has to do is put his knee on our neck, when all he has to do, you know what I mean, is come in our homes and murder our sisters and murder our brothers while they not doing nothing. Like our brother, man, Botham Shem Jones, just sitting back and listening to music and eating ice cream, and that devil Amber Geiger came and killed him, man. You don't got to worry about that. The thing is, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, we have to fear our God, and our God is a black man in spirit. Like and it goes to show you, man, that we have been lied to as blacks and Latinos. We're the ones. We're the ones, right, that we believe, you know what I mean, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, we believe that the oppressor just has all dominion over our life, and that's not true. And to paraphrase the scripture that I was reading earlier to give you the precept, Matthew 10 and verse 28, it says, and fear them not which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. Meaning the oppressor cannot kill our souls. Hey, shalom, brother. You got any questions, brother?
Not at the moment.
All right, my brother, man. It's good to see you, man. But are not, most high Christ. But rather fear him, which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Our God can destroy us can destroy our soul and our body in hell. That's why we're in the lowest state on the earth. That's why we in the ghetto, we in the barrio, we on them concentration camps, man. We're the ones that are destroyed. We're the ones that need to fear our God because he is a black man in spirit, man. He said, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. Who got pure woolly hair, man? Who got hair like wool? Who has hair like wool? It's that black man, Latino man, and woman. We got hair like that, man. And that's the type of hair our God has. Go to show you the Most High Yahweh is a black man in spirit. Read on.
Oh God. And his throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
Man, the Lord is sitting on a throne of fire, black man, Latino man, and woman. Drop down to verse 13, Biblical Show. Drop down to verse 13. Again, if y'all have any questions online, make sure y'all type them in. I'll be answering y'all questions tonight. I gotta find that scripture for you, War. I'm gonna send it to you. I saw it. I'm gonna send it to you when I find it. Biblical Show. Go ahead, Barzo.
I saw in the night visions.
Now, Daniel also saw something else. In Daniel 7:9, he saw the Most High. Now, and for you fake Israelites out there, I have to bring this up, saying that are old, so-called Old Testament only. You can't show me Christ in the Old Testament, you dummies. That's why you ain't got to run to the New Testament or go somewhere else. You can just cut them. You know what I mean? Like if you were young in this truth, man, like a young officer or a trooper, you ain't got, you know what I mean? You got to cut these fake Israelites, man, and these pastors, you know what I mean, in their books. You got to cut them where they trying to pull because they don't understand it 10 out of 10. Christ said, you know what I mean, it was written of me, the so-called Old Testament man, aforetime. It was written of him. And Daniel saw Christ, the Son of Man. Read on.
And it's like verse 13.
Yeah, read verse 13.
And behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days. And they brought him there before him.
Now, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man. Who's one like the Son of Man that Daniel is seeing? He's seeing Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Daniel is seeing Jesus Christ. And came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days. Meaning he came to our God, man. Read on.
And there was given him dominion.
There was given Christ what?
Dominion.
Christ was given dominion, man. Christ was given dominion, black man, Latino man, and woman. The Prince of Peace, man. Read on.
Oh God. And glory in a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve.
That all people, nations, and languages shall serve him. Everybody is going to serve a black man by the name of Yahweh Shah Mashiach that the world ignorantly knows as Jesus Christ. This is in the so-called Old Testament, Barzo. It says, man, it was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom. Christ was given dominion over us, black man, Latino man, and woman. Christ was given all the glory and a kingdom because he died so we can come back to our God, our Father. He was given all that. Read on.
His dominion is everlasting dominion.
Meaning his dominion is an everlasting dominion. Meaning under Christ's rulership, it's going to be forever, black man, Latino man, and woman. Read on.
Oh God, which shall not pass away.
Which shall not pass away. Meaning it ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. Christ's kingdom will never go away. Read on.
Oh God. And his kingdom, that which shall not be destroyed.
And his kingdom shall not be destroyed. That's why the Lord said in 2 Ezra 6:9, for Esau is the end of the world. The oppressor is the end of the world. And the beginning of that what come after is Jacob. Jacob is the beginning of what cometh after. Under Christ's kingdom, it will never be destroyed. It's going to be everlasting. Americans going to enjoy their Christmas now. Enjoy your New Year's now because under a black man, Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, all that's going away. We're going to be doing what our God said to do. Now let me go to the brother's question. The brother had to give you some backdrop. Read Daniel chapter 8 and verse 23 and stop at verse 26, Bible Control.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 23.
This is another vision that Daniel had. Read on.
And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall be destroyed wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
Now, brother had a question. What was this talking about? You know what I mean? He asked in Daniel 8 and verse 23, you know what I mean, reading on. In the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. We're the holy people, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Who is this talking about? Again, this is talking about the so-called Romans. It's talking about the oppressor. Now, if you read up, right, you know what I mean? If you read up in verse 15, it says, and it came to pass when I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, there stood me as an appearance of a man. You know what I mean? And the voice between the Ulay, which called Gabriel, meaning the angel Gabriel came to Daniel and gave him understanding of the vision. And he told him, you know, reading down, that, you know what I mean, that the ram that he saw, you know, reading up in the chapter was of the kings of the Media and Persia, and that the goat was talking about the king of Greece. Now, we read in Daniel, the 7th chapter, about how, you know what I mean, after Babylon came the Persians and the Medes, it came the Greeks and the Romans. Now, it's a king that's going to come after the Romans. It's going to, no, it's like it. There's a king that's going to come after the Persians and the Medes and the Greeks. This is talking about the Romans. Let's read on.
Come. In
25.
Come. And through the policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
The Romans were very crafty. How do you know? Because they're crafty today. The oppressor is a crafty monster. They tell us that homosexuality is an alternative way of living, and that started where? With the heathens. It was popular, became more popular in Rome. Officer Daniela went over yesterday about how the Romans were the ones that enforced monogamy, man. These customs that we follow today are all of the Romans, man. Read on.
Come. And he shall magnify himself in his heart.
He shall magnify himself in his mind. Meaning the Romans, you know what I mean, with the Roman Empire, they thought they was the greatest thing on the earth. The Lord said that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. And let me tell you something, the oppressor is the wicked of the earth, because the oppressor is always magnifying himself like he is God. And you can find that all throughout the Bible, man. Read on.
And by peace shall destroy many.
And by peace shall destroy many. How many peace treaties has the oppressor made with our people and broke every one of them? How? How many? He didn't just do it with the North American Indian and Seminole Indian. He did it with us too. Making so-called peace with the Uncle Tom Negroes of before time, man, with the Sadducees and Pharisees, and then betrayed our people, you know what I mean, and put it in, you know what I mean, to our state, conquered Jerusalem, you know what I mean, with Vespasian and Titus, you know what I mean, and Pompey. They conquered Jerusalem, Zion, man, and 1 million of us Jews had to flee into Africa. Why? Because the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. Right. And Daniel warned us when we saw the abomination of desolation, man. And Christ warned us too and said the same thing. When we see the abomination of desolation in Matthew, the 24th chapter, to flee. This is talking about how evil and wicked the Roman Empire was going to be and their kings. Read on.
Come. And he shall also stand up against the prince of princes.
Who is the prince of princes? Who stood up against the prince of princes? That's talking about the oppressor. It's talking about the oppressor who is the devil that the Bible speaks of. He stood up against Christ. And they do it to this very day in America, man. How do they stand up against Christ? How do they stand up against Christ? I'll tell you how. I'll tell you how they stand up against our King Yahweh Shah Mashiach. By saying that he was a devil. By saying he was Caesar Borgia. By telling us that God loves everybody, that Christ came and died for everybody. That's why I believe it's in Daniel, the 7th chapter, and I think it was in Daniel, the 9th chapter, where it said he would speak great words against the Most High, man. Meaning the oppressors, he didn't just come up against our King Yahushua, he came up against our God too, man, and spoke great words against the Most High. How does he speak great words against the Most High? I'll tell you how. By saying homosexuality is an alternative lifestyle. By telling our people that it's all right, you know what I mean, to abort our babies, man. It goes to show you that the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. Read on.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And,
Go ahead.
but he shall be broken without hand.
God is going to destroy the oppressor. He shall be broken without hand. Meaning our God is going to destroy the oppressor, man. Read on.
God. In the vision of the evening in the morning, which was told is true.
It's true, man. Because our God is going to destroy the oppressor. Our God destroyed, you know what I mean, the Babylonians, the Persians and the Medes, the Greeks and the Romans. And God is going to destroy America. Because the oppressors that run America, they were the same ones that ran Rome, man. That's why when they spoke about those 10 horns, and I have those 10 horns if y'all need them, I'll give you the list. The 10 horns are the United States of America, Australia, Scotland, Ireland, Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Belgium. And the 7 heads were England, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Russia, France, and Italy. I go through my notes. The thing is, black man, Latino man, and woman, our God is going to deal with this oppressor. This is talking about when you read, and this is why it's important to read these scriptures, man. It's important to get understanding and ask these questions. When you read in Daniel, the 7th and 8th and the 9th chapter, it's talking about the different visions that Daniel had about these 4 beasts, about these other nations. You know what I mean? The Babylonians, the Persians and the Medes, the Greeks and the Romans, man. And how God is going to how God destroyed them, and how God is going to destroy the oppressor and America, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Right. Brother, I hope. Go ahead, Barzo. You gonna say something?
Lodge.
Oh, come on, no sweat. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much it on that. And if I could just, elaborate a little bit more, black man, Latino man and woman, which is heavy about it, it's important to understand that this is history. It's important to understand, man, that this Bible, man, holds our records, and it's collecting dust on our tables and our dressers right now. And why it's important to tune into these classes, whether it be online or coming to class physically. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Now, if I could, let me get into my topic. The point, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, that we have to understand and make, man, is that guess what? Understand this. This is the time of the year where our people fall weak. Don't fall weak under that Christmas demon. Don't fall weak because you feel as though you got to get your kids a Christmas gift. You got to get your wife a gift. That's what the oppressor wants you to believe, man, and that's a lie. Christmas is a pagan holiday, black man, Latino man, and woman. And if you don't believe me, if you don't believe the priests and prophets in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge, maybe you'll believe your white daddy. Because I got an article I want to share with everybody. I got an article I want to share. Because you don't believe I, as you became the commander general Yahada. But maybe you'll believe CBS News. I'm going to read this. It says the unexpected origins of popular Christian traditions. Now, what are the unexpected origins of these popular Christian traditions? Now, if I could, Barzal, can you do me one for the class too? Can you pass me that HDMI cord to cut the TV on? I want to put this on the TV screen too. They can see it online. I want the brothers and sisters in the class to see this as well. So, water. Put it on HDMI too, but they can see it online. Now it says the unexpected origins of popular Christian traditions. Now, read it. It says, though December, and let me explain something. This is a CBS News article. I didn't write this. I didn't write this at all. This is a CBS News article. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Y'all watch CBS. Y'all watch 3, 6, and 10. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of it. It says, though December 25th is the day Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, The date itself and several of the customs we come to associate with Christmas actually evolved from pagan traditions. Let me see the remote. Yeah. We'll read it again. It says, Salaki, that though December 25th is the day Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, the date itself and several of its customs we've come to associate with Christmas actually evolved from pagan traditions, celebrating the winter solstice. Now, what you got to understand, Black man, Latino man, First Nation man, and woman, you're celebrating pagan traditions.
Right.
You're really celebrating. You can see it right there, brother. You're celebrating the winter solstice. Now, if I could, Barzal, hold. As a matter of fact, brother, can you do me one? Can you hold Jeremiah 10 and verse 1? Yeah, can you read Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, and start at verse 1? Now, this is a CBS News article. It says, though December 25th is the day Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, the date itself and several of its customs we come to associate with Christmas actually evolved from pagan traditions. Meaning this, you going out there getting that tree, decorating it with silver and gold, it's all pagan. And this is CBS News. This ain't me. This is a CBS News article. I didn't write this. Your oppressor daddy did. In ancient Rome, there was a feast called Saturnalia that celebrated the solstice. What is the solstice? It's the day that the sun starts coming back, the days start getting longer, and most of the traditions that we have to relate to Christmas relate to the solstice. Meaning, most of these traditions that you use and celebrate on December 25th, guess what? It comes from the oppressor. It comes from the Babylonians, man.
Right.
And that's in the Bible. Our God said not to do this, man. Well, we have to understand, right? Christ, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, was not born on December 25th, but a Hamite by the name of Nimrod was. Nimrod was born on December 25th.
Right.
Nimrod, you know what I mean, would be an Ethiopian today, you know, and he was, you know, a son of Cush. Now, Nimrod was an evil, wicked African on the earth, man, a heathen. He had sex and married his own mother. And when he died, right, guess what? His mother said that if you don't go, and because she started this myth and rumor that when Nimrod died, his spirit went into the evergreen pine tree because the pine tree grows all year long. Now, it was the tradition of the Babylonians, you know what I mean, to cut down a tree and present gifts and sacrifices to it. And if you didn't, they would cut your heads off and put your heads on that tree. That's your Christmas. That's your bulbs that you put on the Christmas tree. That's what that is. And that's a pagan tradition, man. And CBS News, obviously, they've been watching the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Been watching Commander Junior Yohana, Black man, Latino man, and woman. Now let me show you it in the Bible. Read Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Bubba Bashar, brother.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, and verse 1.
You don't got to stand there, brother. You can sit down.
Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you,
Now, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you. Read on.
O house of Israel.
O house of Israel, meaning God is talking to blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. He ain't talking to everybody. He's talking to the black man and woman, that Latino man and woman, that First Nation man and woman. Read on.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathens. Meaning, learn not the way of the heathen, black man, Latino man, and woman. Meaning, don't do what these oppressors do. Don't do what the African does or the Asian does. Read on.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Don't be confused at the signs of heaven. One of the signs of heaven, that winter solstice that these heathens worshipped. That's what that is, the sun, moon, and the stars. That's your winter solstice. Be not dismayed. Be not confused at the signs of heaven. We just read this in that CBS News article, man. Read on.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
The heathen are confused at them.
Right.
The heathen are dismayed at them, black man, Latino man, and woman. Read on.
For the customs of the people are vain.
The customs of the people are vain. What are these customs that are vain? What's vain? Your Christmas is vain. You're celebrating the winter solstice. That's vain. You're worshiping the sun, moon, and stars. Read on.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest.
Now, one cut up a tree out of the forest. In the article, right, it also says another custom we can thank the pagans for, Christmas trees.
Right.
Now, this is in that article. If I can just pull it back up. It's right here. Salakia. In the same article, it says another custom we can thank the pagans for, Christmas trees. Davids explained that the evergreen tree signified the return of life and light, as the winter solstice meant the days were starting to get longer. Shalom. It goes to show you, man, that even that is pagan, and our God said this thousands of years ago. For the customs of the people are vain, meaning they're nothing. Read on.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest.
For one cutteth a tree out of a forest. This is in the book of Jeremiah. This was written thousands of years ago. First of all, the Christians love to say, well, it's to celebrate Christ's birthday. Christ was not born on December 25th. Right. Nimrod was. This is in the book of Jeremiah. This is before Christ. Jeremiah is saying, listen, man, the book of Jeremiah, the Lord is saying this. For the customs of the heathen are vain. It's nothing. For one cut of a tree out of the forest. So what does that tree have to do with Christ? It's pagan, according to CBS News. It's pagan according to our God. And it's written in the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. Read on.
The work of the hands of the workmen.
When you go out there to get that Christmas tree, you're going out there to the forest, you got some devil out there, you know what I mean, working, and he cutting the trees down and he's tying it to your vehicle. Read on.
With the axe.
Cut it down with the axe, tying it to your vehicle after you done haggled with him a couple minutes, trying to get a discount on the tree. Read on.
They deck it with silver and with gold.
They what?
They deck it with silver and with gold.
They deck it, meaning they decorate it with silver and with gold. They got that song, Silver and Gold, Deck the Halls. That's in the Bible, black man, Latino man, and woman. This is what our God said was vain. This is what our God said was nothing. This is what our God Yahweh said not to do. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Our God said don't cut a tree out the forest and don't deck it with silver and gold because the heathen do it. They do what? They deck it with what?
Silver and gold.
They decorate this tree with silver and gold. If you go anywhere downtown in Philadelphia, when you see those trees, they're decorated with silver and with gold. Your tree is decorated with silver and gold right now. And you do it. Why? Because your oppressor daddy told you to. And our God said not to do it. Ball all hold Matthew 6 and 24, Bubba Patrol Priest. Read on, brother.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers.
Mm-hmm.
That it move not.
Now they hammer and fasten the tree down with hammer and with nails that it move not. Now that tree is sitting in some water around the electrical wire in your house that it move not. A lot of y'all houses gonna burn down this Christmas. For real, man. I can only imagine what y'all electric bills is like. Knowing you behind on that electric bill already. Y'all know y'all behind on that Pico bill, man. And you got all them Christmas lights, all them decorations, all that silver and gold, you know what I mean, the decorations on that Christmas tree and them lights in that pot of water. You know what I mean? You got that tree sitting in, man, around them wires. Your house going to burn down. Black man, Latino man, and woman playing with our God. Our God said not to do this. Now you fasten it with nails that it move not. Now that tree is sitting up in your corner, just sitting there. Read on.
They are upright as the palm tree.
They are upright as the palm tree. Now that tree is sitting straight up like a palm tree. in the middle of your crib. Read on.
But speak not.
They speak not. That tree can't talk to you. When the last time you got some silly bars on, you got some silly people out here that hug trees and think nature is talking to them. Nature is not talking to you, dummy. One day y'all gonna stop smoking that weed too, man. I'm gonna stop smoking that weed, cause for real, it's destroying your mind. Guess what? That tree can't talk to you. Read on.
But speak not.
Mm-hmm.
They must needs be born.
They must needs be born. How does that Christmas tree need to be born? How does the Christmas spirit need to be born? When you go down to the mall, what do you hear? You hear Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Almost got me, Barzo. You hear that? If I hear Mariah Carey's song, All I Want for You, All I Want for Christmas is You, again, like good night. Like that's all they playing everywhere. Like in the supermarket, that's all you hear. It must be born. They're making this demonic spirit of Christmas born with the music. They did a scientific study on this. That's why when you go to those malls and you hear that music and you see all the sales, you got to go buy that tree. You got to go buy those kids gifts. Like you can give your children a gift any other day of the month and year, man. Why do you got, what makes, you mean to tell me the oppressor decides that you're a great parent if you go and tell, you know what I mean, your kids, you know what I mean, that Santa Claus is real? That you got to go get a tree and bow down to it, because that's really all you're doing. You're bowing down to Nimrod. You're bowing down to the oppressor. And if I could, Barzo, let me show you what we got to do to Santa Claus and the Christmas spirit. Can you go downstairs and get Santa Claus for me? You know, I gave Santa Claus a trial last camp, brother. He was found guilty. I think I'm going to sentence him today. I think I'm going to sentence Santa Claus today. Black man, Latino man, and woman. This is what we have to do to Santa Claus and the Christmas spirit. It says, and it must be born. How is it born? You go into the supermarket, you hear that Christmas music, you got to buy some gifts for them bad kids of yours. You got to go get the eggnog. You got to go get, you know what I mean, the gifts and listen to the carols and the music. You got to get the stockings. You got to get the tree. All of this our God said not to do. And our people, man, suffer around this time. How many of our people are going to go broke? Are going to go broke, Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, because you care about Christmas. Lying to our children, saying that Santa Claus is real, that some little fat white man is going to come in your house and give you gifts. I don't know about y'all, but if any white man come down my chimney, come in my crib, he getting two in his back. He getting two in his back, the water bars off, and I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to kill his reindeer and make some venison burgers. Can you adjust the camera? I want everybody to see what I'm getting ready to do. This is what you got to do to Santa Claus. Santa Claus, you are guilty of lying to my people, lying to blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and sentence you to be home. This is what we have to do to Santa Claus, Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Hang the bastard. Hang Santa Claus, man. Take that Santa Claus is in your crib and hang that mother. Salakia. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. Because here's the thing, man. That spirit is born every year. They play the music. That's why God said they must be born. Around late November, they start playing Mariah Carey. You know, her Christmas songs. They play the different carols, man. They start making the different sales. Now you got to go out and go broke and buy your child a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox because the demonic spirit of Christmas has to be born. This is what you got to do to Christmas, man. Let it die. Let that Christmas spirit die, man. Hang it. And the sad thing is, man, the real Saint Nick, you know what I mean, was a black man that lived out in Russia. You know what I mean? That had a church and turned his church into an orphanage and gave young children gifts, man. But they took that story of that black man and turned it into this fat oppressor, man. Now you telling your kids, you know what I mean, that this bastard is real when you spent your hard-earned dollars. The hell with Christmas, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Understand this, man. You got to let that spirit die. You got to let Christmas go. Now is the time to grow up. So many of you are grown ass men and women, black man, Latino man and woman, salakia for the language, getting excited over a damn stocking. What do I have in my stocking? What do I have under the tree? How old are you, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman? It's time to grow up and realize that Christmas is satanic, man. That our God said not to do this. He said, man, Salakia. He said, they fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. They're upright as the palm tree. They speak not. They must be born because, read on.
They cannot go.
They cannot go. That tree can't do nothing to you. It can't do nothing to you. You giving power to the oppressor and their wicked holidays when you need to give your energy and your time back to our God, man. We got the Sabbath, black man, Latino man and woman. We got the Passover coming up in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Commander General Yana hooked us up on the beach, man. We got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Man, we got the Feast of Purim coming up, black man, Latino man and woman. Let Christmas, let Santa Claus die. They can't hurt you, man. Now, if I could, brother, drop that. Give me Amos 5 and verse 21. And Barzal, give me Matthew 6 and verse 24.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
No man can serve two masters.
No man can serve two masters. We have to make a decision, black man, Latino man and woman, First Nation man and woman. The decision is this. You have to choose who you want to serve. Christ is saying, because these words are written in red, no man can serve two masters, meaning you cannot serve the God of Israel and serve the oppressor and their Christmas, man. You can't do that. You can't do that, black man, Latino man and woman. It's our king said so. No man can serve two masters. Read on.
For either he will hate the one.
You'll hate the one. You'll hate the God of Israel. You'll hate Yahweh. Why? Because you love the oppressor. You just can't let Christmas go. You got to get your wife a gift. You got to get your kids a gift. You got to go out there in the freezing cold on New Year's Day, the oppressor's so-called New Year, when ain't nothing new about January 1st, when you're really celebrating the God of the Romans, Janus, man. The real New Year's in the time of spring, the time of Passover. That's the real New Year. Ain't nothing new about the year in January, man. Either you will hate the one, you'll hate the God of Israel, man, the God of blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Read on.
And love the other.
You'll love the oppressor. You make every excuse for the oppressor. But it's about the kids, Yediah. It's about my babies. I know Christmas is pagan. I know God said not to do it. But what about our kids? Let me explain something to you. And this is the problem with our people. If you're going to go out there and celebrate Christmas for your kids and buy them gifts because they're your kids and get them birthday gifts and celebrate Halloween and Thanksgiving, you hate your children. More importantly, you hate our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, Jesus Christ, and you hate our God, Yahweh, man. You hate our God, man, if you're going to lie to your kids and tell them that bastard Santa Claus is real and celebrate Christmas, man. And you really hate your children because you're doing your babies a disservice, man. Tell your babies that Santa Claus does not exist. Tell your kids that Christmas is evil and demonic, man. The kids in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, our babies ain't celebrating Christmas, man. Our kids are not going to be passed to the fire of Molech, man, serving other gods. Our babies ain't going to be doing that. I pray you understand. Read on.
Or else he will hold to the one.
Or else he will hold to the one. You'll hold on to Christmas. You'll hold on to Santa Claus, man. You'll hold on to him for dear life. But guess what? Read on.
And despise the other.
And despise our God. You'll despise the Most High. You'll despise the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. You gotta let that bastard go, man. You either hold to the one and despise the other. Now you have to make a decision, black man, Latino man, and woman. Who are you going to serve? Are you going to serve the oppressor, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of, El Hombre Blanco es el Diablo? Or are you going to serve the God of Israel, the God of blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man? If I could, brother, can you give me Amos 5 and verse 21, Bubba, for sure?
The book of Amos, chapter 5 and verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
I despise your feast days.
Read it again from the top, and let's slow it down.
I hate.
God said what?
I hate.
God is not all love, man. God is not all love. That's another lie that they tell our people, man. That's another lie that they tell our people. That is disgusting, black man, Latino man, and woman. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 8 says, it's a time to love, a time to hate, and a time of war, and a time of peace. Our God can hate black man, Latino man, and woman. He's very capable of it. And God said, I hate. Read on. What does God hate?
I despise your feast days.
God said, I despise your feast days, your Christmas, your New Year's, your Memorial Day, your Thanksgiving, your birthday. Read on.
And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. God ain't about to smell that Christmas ham. God ain't about to smell, you know what I mean, that chicken and that turkey you about to make for Christmas. God said, I despise your feast days, your Christmas, your Thanksgiving, your birthday, your New Year's, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies, man. Meaning God said, I ain't about to smell none of that. I ain't about to smell none of that garbage, man. Because God is not for your feast days, the feast days of man. Read on.
Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings.
Though you going to offer me your burnt offerings and your meat offerings, read on.
I will not accept them.
Lord, the Lord said, I would not accept them. A lot of y'all going to be sitting there at the table in the name of God and Jesus on this Christmas morning. I thank you. Can you bless this ham? Can you bless these ham hocks? Can you bless the turkey butt and the pig's butt and the chitlins bars off? God said, I ain't about to accept none of that garbage, man. God ain't for that. This is why the Lord said, and I'm going to read this in Acts 5 and 29. The Lord said, man, and then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men. We have to obey the Most High rather than men. Rather than your pastor who has a Christmas tree in his church right now. Don't let the Muslims fool you. Don't let the Muslims fool you, black man, Latino man, and woman. They celebrate Christmas too. They just wait an extra day or two. Officer Daniela told me he was in the supermarket and it was this Muslim sister, you know what I mean, that was getting like some toys and stuff, you know what I mean, like out the market and everything, and like some other Christmas stuff. And the other Muslim brother was like, yo, sis, what you doing? You know we don't do that. She said, I know, brother, but I usually get this stuff for after December 25th. I don't want my kids to miss out. And the Muslim brother was like, yeah, sis, I do the same thing. Shalom alaikum. See how garbage Islam is? You compromise. And the ISUPK and the Commander General, don't compromise, man. Stand strong in this truth, man. The hell with Christmas, man. Your family getting together for Christmas, man, and if you live with them, take a walk. Go and get around the Akim. Go hang around the brothers, man. Come to class. Stay in your room, man. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to participate in that garbage, man. Because our God is not for it. That's why our God said, I despise your feast days, man. This is why we have to remember this. And I'm going to close out with this, man. It's going to be my last scripture. As a matter of fact, I'll probably take one more. If I could, brother, get me bobbity. If I ain't got no questions online, I'll probably get two more scriptures. Get me Colossians, right? Give me Colossians 1 in verse Give me Colossians 2 and verse 8. Give me Colossians 2 and 8, Baba Kushaw. Let me get that. The book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Let me get that.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. How can you be spoiled through philosophy and vain deceit? I'll tell you how. Your pastor tell you God loves everybody, brother. It's all right, you know what I mean? He says, inshallah, if it be the will of God, ain't nothing wrong with celebrating Christmas. Ain't nothing wrong with getting your kids gifts. Don't suffer the kids. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. That's your Christian church. That's your Muslim mosque, man. Show fake Israelites, man. We being poisoned through their false philosophy and vain deceit, meaning it's nothing, man. We being deceived by the Christian church and the Muslim mosque and these fake Israelite organizations out here, man. Read on.
After the tradition of men.
After the what?
Tradition of men.
After the tradition of men. Christmas as a tradition of man, man. Cutting down a tree. You know what I mean? Putting gifts under that tree. Decorating it with silver and gold, man. That started with the Babylonians, man. Then the Romans adopted it, called it Saturnalia. Now it's Christmas, man. We being spoiled through philosophy and vain deceit. Your pastor don't have a problem with it. Your imam don't have a problem with it, but our God does. After the tradition of men. Read on.
After the rudiments of the world.
After the rudiments of the world. After the things that the world does, man. After the different things the world holds together, man. Understand this, man. Rudiments mean principle. The principles that the world set in stage, because Christmas, you know what I mean? If you don't celebrate Christmas, you're going against the rudiments of the world, man. Christmas is a staple. It's a principle. You have to celebrate that. Same thing with Thanksgiving and New Year's, man, and these other major holidays. When God said in Amos 5 and verse 21, I despise your feast days, and when I smell in your solemn assemblies, man. Don't be deceived, man. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit after the traditions of men. Don't be deceived by the philosophy and vain and nothing deceit of men, man, by these pastors and imams and fake Israelite leaders, man. And the tradition of men, and after the rudiments of this world, the principles of this world that says homosexuality is an alternative lifestyle. It says pork is the other white meat. It says Christmas is a national holiday and Thanksgiving. All of that is garbage. Read on.
And not after Christ.
And not after Christ, because they don't follow Christ in the Christian church. They do not follow Christ. They too worried about celebrating Christmas, which God said not to do. In the Muslim mosque, they don't follow Christ. They too busy trying to follow after, you know what I mean, the figment of the imagination of the Arabs, man. That's why they don't follow after Christ. Now, if I could, brother, last one. Give me 1 Peter chapter, poverty. Oh, this is good. Oh, this is good, man. Let me get 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. Let me hear that.
The book of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
But ye are a chosen generation.
Black man, Latino man and woman, First Nation man and woman, we are a chosen generation. We're the ones that our God chose, man. Read on.
A royal priesthood.
A royal priesthood. Your pastor is not a priest of God. Your imam is not a priest of God. Your fake Israelite leaders masquerading in purple, hollering at bottle girls and strippers in the club, they're not priests of God. The royal priesthood has always been in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge under commanding General Yohana. We're that royal priesthood. Read on.
And holy nation.
A holy nation, a separate nation. Holy does not mean your grandmom and auntie with the feathered hat on in church. Holy means to be separate. A separate people, man. Holy people. Read on.
A peculiar people.
A peculiar people. Peculiar meaning special. Meaning we're the peculiar people of God, the special people that the Lord chose. Deuteronomy 7 and 6 backs this up, man. Leviticus 20 and 26, man. Read on.
That ye should show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
We've been called out of darkness. We've been called out of the darkness of America, the darkness of this world, and into his marvelous light. The marvelous light meaning the truth. We were called into the Isupk, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. That's why it's time to understand, man, that you cannot be a friend of this world. As a matter of fact, if I could, brother, one more. Give me James 4:4. Give me James 4:4, brother, for sure. I got to bring this out. The problem is you think you could, you could be in this world, man, and be of it. That's the thing, man. Christ said, Christ said, be ye in the world, but not of it. We in the world, but we not of the world, man. Christ told us, man, if you were of the world will love his own. But because we are of the Most High Christ, they hate us. But you think you could be a friend of America. You think you free, white, and 21. You think you can celebrate Christmas and all these other satanic holidays, man. Let me get James 4:4.
James 4:4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses,
Ye adulterers and adulteresses, man. Read on.
Know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God?
The friendship of the world is enmity with God, man. Meaning you are an enemy of God if you are a friend of the world, man. You are against our God, Yahweh, if you friends with the world, man. If you just got to do what the world has to offer. What the world has to offer is Christmas. That satanic holiday, man. This Santa Claus, telling our kids, that some fat oppressor's going to come down your chimney. We don't even got chimneys, man. Going to come in y'all's and leave gifts. You trying to be a friend of the world saying it's for the kids. You trying to say, well, you know what I mean? Well, we can't really keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. We got to do what the oppressor says. You try to be friends with the oppressor in this world, man. And world meaning age or society. You try to be friends with the oppressor in America and his world, put enmity with God, man. Meaning you are now against and opposed to our God. Read on.
Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God.
If you are a friend of the world, a friend of the society of America, guess what? You are an enemy of God. I pray you understand, black man, Latino man, and woman. That's why we have to do this. This is why we have to understand this, black man, Latino man, and woman. There is something that we can do while we in this world, man. And that's coming to the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, man. It's coming to the Isupk and change your life. Last scripture, brother. Give me 1 Peter 2 and verse 17. This is what we have to understand and do as blacks and Latinos and Native American Indians. Let me get 1 Peter 2 and verse 17.
This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 17. Honor all men.
Honor all men. The problem is, man, as blacks and Latinos, honor is something that, should come natural to us. The Lord made Israelites to be a vessel unto honor and made the oppressor Esau as a vessel unto dishonor. Give honor to all men, man. Be honorable to all of our people. And even to the heathen. Show the heathen that we are better than them, man. Be respectable to all men of high integrity, man. Don't just be, righteous, so-called righteous in here. Because the scriptures say my righteousness is as a filthy rag. Be honorable in everything that we do. Even when nobody in here can see you, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Honor all men. Read on.
Love the brotherhood.
Love the brotherhood. Love the brotherhood, man. Love our brothers and sisters here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, man. Because there is no brotherhood in the world, man. There ain't no brotherhood in the world, man. I know you think you got day one niggas that's going to be with you, that's going to be down for you for the rest of your life. Guess what? They not. They're not. Real brotherhood can only be found in the Isupk under command of General Yohana. Read on.
Fear God.
Fear God. Fear the Most High Yahweh, man. You too busy fearing the oppressor, fearing them and not fearing the oppressor and saying, oh, I can't not celebrate Christmas because the oppressor told me to. I cannot just not celebrate Thanksgiving. You need to fear God, man. God is the one that hit the coronavirus. God is the one that made it morph into the Delta and the Omicron, man. God is the one that can destroy your body and soul in hell in this low state. black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Fear God. Read on.
Honor the king.
Honor the king. Give honor to our king, Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Give honor to our king, Jesus Christ, man. Because he died so we could come off of drugs, so we could stop being whores and whoremongers and murderers, man. Coming to the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, it'll change your life. You can change as well. You're looking at men in the UPK and sisters in the UPK that did change. We were once where you were, but now we changed. Now we don't do the evil that we did. Now we turned our life back over to the Most High. Coming to the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, don't fall weak under that Christmas demon, man. Don't fall weak under that bastard. Come to class, man. Continue to tune in online. Watch Commander General Yohana every Monday. Black Watch, man. Commander General Yohana bring it out so heavy, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Watch 12 Shield General Hazai Yun, man, every Monday morning from 11 a.m., from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You know what I mean? Let a Hebrew speak with 12 Shield General Hazai Yun and 6 Shield General Kathum Gabar, man, and Officer, you know what I mean, Officer Marad, Officer Bahaya. Tune in to Ashi the Prophets, man, with 12 Shield General Mayaka Allah, man, and myself, and Officer Bahaya, man. General Mayaka Allah breaking them questions down so glorious and beautifully, man. Sending your questions to General Mayak, AshleyTheProphets@gmail.com, man. Tune in to Cross the Line Radio tonight with Captain Zariak and Captain Katazar from 10 a.m. to 12, from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Tune in to One West Radio with my big brother, Captain 13,000 Gadol Hall. And I want to implore you all to pay your tithes, man. Pay your tithes to the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. Your pastor is a liar and a thief, man. $600,000 that Joe Osteen stole from our people and reported it stolen, and it was inside of his bathroom, man. $800 billion that the Christian church made in 10 years, man. These tithes should go to Commander General Yohana, the UPK, because we feed God's chosen people, blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And with that, I'm going to pass the class off to Priest and Officer Barzarika.
Officer Yediah in one hand.
Sorry,